we live in this manipulated world, this manipulated reality, and I've written at length. I think this reality is actually a trap. I think it's a form of virtual reality simulation. But what they're doing now, and that simulation, is to so bewilder our perception that we lose understanding of who we are. It's all part of the same thing. But what we're seeing with the metaverse and augmented reality and the technological virtual reality is that new layers are being put on to the illusion, to the fantasy world, to further and further lock us away from the true I, consciousness, beyond the manipulation. And there's many aspects of this going on at the same time. So you've got your metaverse and your cyberspace level of that, which is this body is you could call it an avatar for consciousness to experience this reality. So now with the metaverse, the avatar's got an avatar. How long before the avatar's got an avatar, and so on. And it's pulling people further and further away in their perception of self and reality, away from prime reality. And at the same time, if you look at it, this woke mentality is subdividing the previous labels of a human life. So they're going into greater and greater myopia of self-identity. And self-identity is everything. Self-identity, if you self-identify with the labels of a human life, then you're self-identifying with limitation of I can't. You're self-identifying with the five senses alone, because the five sense world is the world of the labels. But what they're now doing, in the same way of the metaverse, the layers, in the same way, they are subdividing the previous labels into smaller and smaller self-identities. The further away you are drawing people, as with the metaverse and all these other virtual reality technologies, from the infinite I. And that's what this Wetiko has to do to survive, because this is about its survival as well. It's feeding off our energy. We are its energy source. You know, when the Morpheus character in the Matrix held the battery up and said the machines have turned humans into one of these, that was a profound truth symbolically of what's going on. These metaverses and stuff like that are all part of this process. But you know, it's also, you mentioned a few minutes ago about basically they're telling us, but what they plan with their books and their videos and stuff. But they have to. I said this years ago, there's going to come a time when they can't operate under the radar anymore, because if they're going to impose on society what they want, that society must become visible to the population. It must become part of the population's experience in the realm of the seen and the experience. They can't hide it anymore. I mean, you can, for a long time, you can be under the radar and you're manipulating and you're changing it subtly and it's moving on, and the population think it's all random and not connected. But there's a point where you have to break the surface where you can see it. Otherwise, society's not going to change as you want it. So what they've done, more and more we'll see this, if they've gone from hiding it to selling it, from hiding it to the sales pitch that it's a good thing that this happens. So, you won't own anything, but you'll be happy. You want to be happy, don't you? You'll be happy. So we're seeing the sales pitch now, and it's vital that, and it is happening despite the censorship, that people have the information to see that the sales pitch, like so many, is a corrupt door-to-door salesman trying to sell you a tyranny and a nightmare. Also, you know, this Wetiko doesn't have creativity. Because it's not connected to the source as in the way that source-connected consciousness is. it doesn't have the ability to tap into that creative force, what the Gnostics used to call, in translation, intentionality. And they said that these archons, this Yaldabaoth, their version of the devil and demons, couldn't create. It could mimic. It could, like the old Hong Kong mimicking of technology and selling it as to people in a counterfeit state. They can do that. In fact, one of the names for Yaldabaoth, according to the Gnostics, was the counterfeit spirit, and Yaldabaoth, Wetiko, whatever. And so they're feeding off human creativity also. And if you look at, like, the Silicon Valley corporations, the creativity is not coming from Zuckerberg. It's not coming from the people that are fronting it up. It's not coming from the cult. The creativity is coming from humans overwhelmingly. And if you look at the banking system, this is a wonderful example of what I'm talking about. Banks don't create anything except fresh air money that has never, does not, and will never exist, called credit. And what they're doing with that money is feeding, to acquire more, off the creativity of the people. It's the creativity of the people that's running the businesses, that's coming up with the ideas. But to turn those ideas into reality, to make those businesses happen, they have to, because of the way the structure of the system is set up, they have to go to the banking system to borrow money that has never, does not, and will never exist, called credit, to do that. So the banking system is one gigantic global vampire of human creativity. So that's another reason they are terrified of losing control of humans, and of humans awakening to their plight and to awakening to the fact that they have the power and not authority, Wetiko. See, anything that is in a low vibrational state like Wetiko, anything that wishes to harm, wishes to oppress, wishes to impose, is not a state of consciousness with power. It's a state of consciousness that is in a state of weakness. So you look at all this censorship that goes on by the Silicon Valley corporations, the media, and so on. Censorship is not an expression of power. It's an expression of weakness. Because if we had an open debate with their information and our information, it would be over for them. So censorship is a state of weakness, because you know you can't win your argument. You know that in a free-flowing state of information, you cannot persuade the people that you're right, and that the way you want the world to change is the way to do it. You can't do it. So the only way you can do it is to stop it, your narrative being dismantled, by censoring that which will dismantle it. So that's an expression of the weakness of this consciousness. And if you look at the dynamic between this cult and the human population, it's actually all founded. The whole thing's founded not on the power of the cult, no, on the ignorance of the population. That's where it is.